A bit of extra flavor comes in here. Our first Tomb of the Spider Queen game of the day has arrived. And that was chosen by SPT. And I love that move. And I love that move because teams are finally willing to step outside their comfort zone. They're not always, you know, falling back onto the same maps over and over again. CE has this tendency, for example, of always going to Towers of Doom, which then makes the teams very predictable. So I love the fact that SPT is trying to switch things up.
Okay, so I think it's safe to say that CE are not going to ban Maiev now because they want it, and SPT will not fall into the same trap as CE did. I think that's pretty safe to say. I'm going to assume a Decade ban now, maybe a Yrel. Also
maybe Sergeant Hammer, yeah, one of those.
Oh, that's a good one. Forgot about Hammer.
And I mean, CE does play Maiev as well. Alufal is a formidable Maiev player if they let that go through. SPT, that is. Question is, do they respect it? Yes, they do. All right.
Not happening. But that leaves Decade, Yrel, all these lovely heroes open to CE as their first pick. Who are they going to give prioritization to? 365? Maybe give something over... Yep, 365. I was going to say maybe give something over to KTY. But nope. Quick pickup on the Decade Kane.
Okay, Hanzo. It's an interesting ban as well, but I think... Like, the more I think about it, the more it makes sense on Tomb of the Spider Queen in particular. Hanzo is one of those heroes that is so annoying to play against, especially when you're the one trying to make that pay in, right? How many times have we seen Hanzo's interrupt with cheeky scattering arrows, long-distance storm bows as well? So they're probably going to go for very strong rotations, ideally with a lot of wave clear as well, maybe even picking a mage. And then they're going to try to pay those gems very early.
There's Blaze and a Reyna starting off. Reyna against an Uberak. You've talked about it so much for very good reason. Would you like to explain why this is such an issue?
I mean, an Uberak, although he's a tanky beetle and he's really good against mages still, he struggles against basic attacks. And Reyna delivers those like hardly any other hero in the game, and also very consistently. Combine that with the slows that in the bonus damage he gets from the Ace in the Hole, if they were to pick that. And Uberak all of a sudden finds himself in a lot of trouble. And also, don't forget about the fact that it's Misaka playing. He was looking terrible yesterday on that hero.
That's true, but he's not against a Diablo this time, so he might have an easier time. We will have to see. CE, I'm sure they would have loved something like a Muradin, but now their picks are starting to get a bit more limited to perhaps the Garrosh or maybe even a Johanna.
All right. What do they still need? They still need a support. They don't have to ban a support because Decade Kane kind of counters most of them with that Emerald Cube. It's mean, but it's true.
Yeah, no, you're kind of right. The anti-heal on a support is pretty dope. Malfurion and Ana, the only other ones that have it. And theirs are much harder to land.
Ana, that is an interesting one. No matter where I go at the moment in Hero League, in Team League, Quick Match, she is everywhere. I'm not sure if you've noticed the same thing, the same trend.
No, I'm too low rank for people to be able to hit Ana abilities, so most people don't pick her.
Savage Thatcher, whoa!
You have not seen some of my games. Although I had a fun one where I first picked Abathur on Towers, because Towers, and someone locked in a Murky. As someone else typed, if you pick Murky, I AFK. So then everyone got in an argument with this person over how is being AFK more helpful or making you a better player than what the Murky did. Because the Murky kicked butt and we won the game, quite frankly. But we had to argue with this guy to not AFK, and I was like, that is the most immature thing. As we see Hammer coming onto the board, and Arthas for CE.
Arthas, all right, interesting. It's not the one here playing, because Hugo for the longest period of time was one of the few tank players who would still stick to his Arthas, to his Lich King, no matter what. So the movement speed slow can be strong against a very melee-heavy composition, which they have, SPT that is, and they rely on the Kel'Thas as the only ranged assassin. That is a risky gamble.
It is a curiously risky gamble, in fact, because Kel'Thas, he's obviously good against Arthas, but why wouldn't you go for something like an Azebo to deal with the Sergeant Hammer? Kel'Thas is like a little bit better in terms of sieging, but it's a curious choice over an Azebo when you're on a map where you can almost certainly get the stacks.
Now, in a weird world, Tetcher, and I want to stress the word weird, we're going to see a Leoric come in with an Entomb and a Pyroblast on Sergeant Hammer.
That just sounds like a really easy way to just activate Siege Tactics and get the 50 armor. And
you got to bait that out first. That is correct.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, the potential's there. I'm not sure if it will work. But
I'm pretty much sure it won't work, but that's the only thing I got.
I mean, I like Phoenix as a zoning tool,
yeah.
so I don't have an issue with that. So I don't hate the Kael'thas, but I think there could have been maybe a better pick. But either way, SPT, they're already second seed. Third seed, sorry. This match is not a big deal for them, and as such, they're going to experiment a bit with the Kael'thas.
Exactly. For SPT, they basically got this thing on lockdown here. They will start or enter the playoffs as third place behind the One and BTG. However, I think for CE, this match does matter pretty much because, you know, they've been in kind of a slump. They've been losing games, throwing games, even if you look at the last one on Sky Temple left and right. So for them to stabilize and to regain their momentum, to regain some morale, they need to win this. If they get crushed 2-0, I'm not so sure if they can recover until next week.
This is a very long pause on a single camera shot. There we go. And we're heading, ladies and gentlemen, into game number 2, the final game of the group stage of HGC China. Who will come out victorious in the rematch? It is Super Perfect Team versus CE, and we are heading to the Tomb of the Spider Queen.
That we do, and facing... Or on the left-hand side, we see SPT with Lucky, Melody C, Misaka, Soap, and ZZH.
And on the right-hand side, it is CE with a Luful, XTQ, 365, KTY, and Zhuyu.
All right, we see a couple of interesting talents already. We see the Ossian Renewal on Leoric, giving him a little bit more burst healing if the situation requires it. We also see the improved Innervate now for Marfrian, reducing... the cooldown of it, which is very useful when you have a mana-thirsty hero like Kael'thas. He quite literally is mana-thirsty.
Yeah, he's gone for mana. He's addicted to mana. He's gone for the mana addict to go for that extra bit of shielding. So wants to keep himself alive burst-wise. Crash Lightning for Melody Z. Cool, I guess. There's a lot of minions in the way, but I guess you're pretty near enemy heroes, so you can just spam it, I guess.
Yeah, so... the reason why Crash Lightning isn't really picked much on rotation-heavy maps like Dragonshire or Tomb of the Spider Queen here is because, as you said, there's usually always a minion wave nearby, and also enemies are usually running away from you, and already we see Zhuyu caught in the process. That is a beginner's mistake. You have to expect those strong CC Anub'arak engages. That's what makes Anub'arak so strong. It just can't happen. Not this early on.
Yeah, cheeky little kill applied there onto the Arthas. Once again, like you said, he has no escape. So
That's
they
true.
have to be careful. As we do see the rotations continuing from SPT, but they've become a little bit less aggressive, as they are looking more for gems than anything else.
And this is becoming tricky now, right? Once again, you see the situation in which Thor would love to throw down a Chain Lightning, but with all those minions nearby and Sergeant Hammer plus Blaze being so far away from one another, it's actually easier said than done to acquire these decks. He's going to have to rely on RNG and the bounces. Because the sad thing about Crash Lightning is that only after completion will it prioritize heroes, not before.
Luful starting to get to work on these towers, but reinforcements coming in for SPT to try and help drive him back, and they've successfully done so.
All right. Let's see what we can do here. Sergeant Hammer got caught here. That is the danger of rotating all by yourself when you're an immobile ranged assassin like Sergeant Hammer. If a Anub'arak finds you, if there's some follow-up CC like the Gravity Collapse or the Thrallfarer Spirit, you're a goner.
So turns in his gems, 27 to 24 currently, with neither team having the full amount to turn in yet. But there's plenty of time for that. Lucky, thinking about doing the Merc Camp, decides against it, but also sees that CE aren't doing it either, so he knows his team are fine to keep piling on that pressure, at least for the moment, without having to worry about rotations.
Yep. All right. That turn-in is pretty much uncontested. It's not going to be a full turn-in, mind you. Still, not enough time has passed for SPT to acquire all those gems. Flip side though, CE was able to turn in 24 themselves. They're about to lose more though if Arthas falls yet again. Nope, they're not willing to chase him that close to the enemy towers.
We see a lovely little bruiser camp picked up by CE in good timing as well, as it will be solid for this defense with nothing to contest as they're going to try and drive back SPT. SPT though, they rotate effectively. Good knock up, and Leoric though gets interrupted by the hammer mines, which were baited in by Lucky revealing himself.
Now we have that situation in which Melody C doesn't want to find himself in. He's in a one-on-one situation here against Blaze. And that's, of course, pretty detrimental to his Crash Lightning endeavors. However, now, the turn-in has arrived for SPT. It is time to push. It is time to hit several people with your Chain Lightning.
With the lanes being cleared out, they're looking pretty solid. Pushing up even more aggressively, trying to get the value of their web weavers as much as they can, but CE are playing too passively to really hard engage onto.
Yeah, and I wonder where they're going to try to snap the trap here first. Looks like Zhuyu caught in between several enemy heroes will be their first target, and that is just a disaster. That is a problem right now. Not only do they not have a frontliner right now to keep the enemy heroes at bay, they lose a pretty sizable amount of gems. I think it was 10 gems total here. And every gem counts and matters for CE right now, because the only way for them to stabilize and prevent the early snowball is if they get a turn in themselves before level 10.
As they move forward, Alufal sieging up, clearing out those lanes as best he can. He actually has to unsiege so he doesn't eat a living bomb.
True.
From the position he was sitting in, had to be more careful. As level 4 is hit, though, he can now go into that hover siege, which will make that a little bit easier, which he does.
Arthas is back, tries to keep the enemy heroes at bay. Took a root and a healing bomb to the face, though.
There's Melody C. Comes around the area, quick dive onto XDQ, and Reyna having issues. Better Barb slow is pretty good, but it's gonna be a clutch save thanks to Deckard Kane.
Deathard Kane. He will always make you miss those potions.
That's where he just can't hear anything. As we see burning through the mercenary camp in the bot lane, wants to try and finish off that bottom fort, as the web weavers didn't actually get that much value.
Yeah, all right. So the defense was decent. I see. I refrain from using the word good, because if it had been good, they would have been able to some hero kills and maybe some counter turn in immediately already. But it wasn't, you know, it wasn't bad. It wasn't crushing by any means. Soap, though, carrying 19 gems himself, needs to be careful.
And so, you see a quick knock-up, little bit of extra slow once again applied, and this is a pretty resilient engage, but no hard... Like, everything was sort of thrown out there, but nothing was committed. That felt like a very half-hearted engage onto Deckard Kane.
And, like, to put yourselves in the minds of CE, the question might be, why Arthas, right? We haven't really seen anything from Arthas. Why did they even pick it? It got killed twice already. It hasn't really made any engages happen. Speaking of engages, Anubrak yet the first one to come in there. Cocoons Arthas so he can't help his buddy KTY, who's in trouble. And they're going to get the Blaze yet again. But the reason... Oh my goodness, that's a lot of gems too. The reason why Arthas was picked in the first place, I think it was to enable Raynor and Sergeant Hammer. You know, he slows people down so they can't run away from the Raynor, so they can't run away from the Sergeant Hammer. And with Ace in the hole and that permanent slow coming in from that lingering cold and, of course, the Frozen Tempest, Raynor might have a heyday. But if only they were pushed back by all that engage, by all that CC all the time, right? You can't fight when you're stunned, you can't fight when you're slowed. And unfortunately, the weapon they tried to apply themselves is now being used against them.
LDC moves forward, double root actually applying there, but no one was in position to follow up, but that could have been incredibly dangerous for CE. But they do survive for now, but they're still continuing to fall further and further behind. A level and a third, I would say, behind SPT right now as they get their second web weavers in a row. They're going to try and move in with this and try and get themselves a second fort.
Tetcher, this is a problem. This is going to be a big problem, in fact, if they don't stop this onslaught here. Level 10 is so close, but they just need to be a little more patient. Just have a little more patience here. XTQ, look at CZH. The Entomb is real. The roots are going to follow underneath, and here goes KT, missing the gravity lap, so that's a little bit of a blunder. Otherwise, that Raynor would have been there, but here goes Misaka to the rescue. They drop another one in the cocoon. Are they going to have their CC effects back in time?
The Web Weaver with the assist on Reyna, but now they move forward. Good knock up.
Roots
follow up. Can they finish Deckard? No, they can't. That armor he was getting from Zhuyu was enough to save him, as well as the preliminary shield he had before that engage happened.
But still, so much momentum in favor of SPT. They tear down that fort wall. They destroyed every single fort in one go. That is maximum efficiency, if you will. The tier 1 defenses are now down. And that means SPT can move around the map so freely, ever so freely. And it's going to be even harder for CE to make a payment. And even if they made a payment right now, look at how far pushed in the lanes are. Those web groups would take so much damage already just by using abilities before they even reach any structure of SPT.
SPT cleans out the minion waves, grabbing a mercenary camp as well. More pressure onto the map. As Phoenix is about to come off cooldown, as are all of the cooldowns of SPT. So they are now even further ahead with level 13 on the board, all heroics available, and CE are kind of not going to be able to push for a while because of that.
Almost fully addicted here, by the way, Kael'thas. 20 is what he needs, then he gains access to that juicy shield. Not sure why Zhuyu activated the army.
Did I read that right, that currently Thrall has 4 stacks? I hope I read that wrong.
Mean, that's Crash Lightning on a rotating map like Tomb of the Spider Queen. For you look at all that junk, all those minions and mercenaries, that is always near to the enemy heroes. It wouldn't surprise me if it was 4. That
was either 4 or 14. I really hope 14. They move on to KTY. Root lands, and there's an entomb onto Raider. Hard engage coming in. Lord Nado disengages at least a little. Raider with the armor from the fight or flight is not enough. Down he goes.
Down he goes, and Zhuyu is quickly to follow. He used his Army of the Dead before. No more self-healing from the ghouls. The bunker comes in, but there is nowhere left for him to run. You could actually see Lucky step on the flight path, so he couldn't even squeeze his Firebat body out of there. That was such smart play by Lucky. In the blink of an eye, he realized how to shut down any escape attempts from Blaze.
SPT just looking absolutely dominant in this game, number 2.
Yeah.
With a now 2-level lead, solid 2-level lead, might I add. They begin to turn in, with Thrall starting the Merc camp before the turn in is complete. He has 12 gems, so he will be the final part of the turn in for his team.
This is just so good. They maximize the value of their play yet again. You know, as soon as you turn in the gems and the web viewers get activated, the mercenary camps disappear. So what are they left to do? They even time it at 59 out of 60. Are you kidding me? SPT, now you're just showing off.
I doubt that was intentional, but it looked really cool. So I'm going to say it is. As we see the turn-in happening, Siege Giants acquired, and now they're going to be pushing in. All the forts are down, so it's time for keeps.
All right, CE, they're not looking good at the moment. They're just with their backs against the wall. Look at the waves. They're not even deep-pushing. Not even a single lane is currently pushing out, which would have stalled at least one lane from the blue wet viewers a little bit, but nothing along those lines is going to happen. Zhuyu tried to make a flank happen, but it was discovered by Melodies. He dropped a preemptive Feral Spirit in there. Probably going to do that same stuff again. Yep, this time it was a Moonfire. No surprise elements this time around for Zhuyu. Get schooled.
As we see Misaka pushing in, bringing out the Beetles to tank even more shots as well to help with those spiders. Hammer Hover sieging, trying to burn through a couple of these, as Soap is 1v2ing right now onto Arthurs and KTY.
But he's got a 3-level lead, he's got the Entomb as well, and he's going for that Drain Hope build, which will actually make him even scarier, especially for enemy warriors. So Blaze and Arthurs are extremely hesitant when it comes to facing Leoric in the first place.
You can see the Icebound Fortitude being dropped there for Zhu. That actually kept him alive and allowed the root of Thrall to only land very short duration-wise. And with mid keep already safe, top keep still under pressure, bot keep is driven back, and as such, CE might actually survive this with keeps intact, maybe not.
All they need to do, though, is just keep them busy, you know? Only Sergeant Hammer is currently defending that last remaining Web Weaver, and I'm pretty sure there's a massive minion wave. The keep is about to fall, and now it is a 4 versus 4.
And that's going to be a kill coming in here onto Blaze. Zhu is barely going to be able to escape, but that's going to be a double keep play coming in for SPT. Are they planning on ending? They're hopping around here aggressively.
All right, I think even
SPT,
they're not brave enough. They could try to go for a boss now. They could try to just take mercenaries and farm enough gems again. So Hold that thought. They're reinitiating. Zhuyu is very far away from his support, very far away from the rest of his team, in fact.
Arthas gets quite a few slows. A noob completes regen master, so even more sustain. Not like he was actually under pressure at any point in this game so far, because he has been so ahead for so long. That's a 4-level lead at this moment.
Look at the patience also from SPT. They're always waiting for a minion wave. They're trying to minimize the damage that the keep could actually inflict onto those heroes. But it was such a mistake by CE yet again. You know, sending Sergeant Hammer in the top lane, try to defend that keep. The keep couldn't be defended. It was then a 4 versus 4, and they got annihilated. A 5 versus 4, excuse me, and they got annihilated. So 2 mistakes at once. They lost almost every single keep right now. Only the middle is just barely hanging in there. But with that mercenary camp, I think it's safe to say that SPT is going to make this a perfect building game.
They're in the driving seat. They want to. Well, if they want to make it a perfect building game, then they have a gate to kill. As we see Zhuyu taking a lot of hits, but the Lord Nado is pretty good, actually. Cocoon used on to Raider, though, so where's your follow-up damage? The answer is it's non-existent. Arthas gets in the bunker. That will keep him alive. The Entomb onto a Lufel. Where's the follow-up? Trying to chase him down. But Lufel actually able to escape, as is KTY. Zhuyu will be the only one to fall if he does at all. Either way, the keep is dead. And with that, SPT are running out of things to push.
There goes another engage attempt onto Sergeant Hammer. Don't think he had siege tactics available, but with only a Nubrak landing a CC ability, Sergeant Hammer, Alufal stays safe for now. And look at the gem count, 40 gems on Alufal alone. He could basically make all the difference, but you know what the problem is on Sergeant Hammer? If she's carrying all those gems, she is very slow. She can't hope to make those surprise payments, right? Because it takes a while for her to get there in the first place.
If you want to stay in siege mode, that is. She does have ambush, so she could try and stealth it. But in the meantime, SPT are just turning in. That one gate does survive. There was a bruiser actually battering on it for a while, but it is going to be alive. So not the perfect building game yet, but SPT, they're turning in more gems, approaching that critical mass, which will allow them for what will almost certainly be the death push.
Yeah, they don't really need that many anymore. They have 61 turned in. They need exactly 1 additional piece. And it's basically what we said, right? Sergeant Hammer can't go for those surprise turn-ins. She is too slow. She is too easy to spot. I'm not sure what Alufal was thinking, but it was just a desperation move. If they didn't get that pay-in, if one more wave gets unleashed for SPT, it was over anyways. And that's
Blaze just absolutely abandoned Arthas. Just like, I've got 20 gems, see you later, and just ran away.
Yeah.
Hammer's down, Arthas is down. It's a 5 versus 3 as SPT pre-20 push onto the core.
Pre-level 20. They don't even need to wait at that point. 10 seconds till Alufal gets back on Sergeant Hammer. 24 until Arthas is back. And already the catapults are knocking on the door. The siege giants make ring, ring, ring. And the core is falling to 48%. I think it's just a matter of time.
Then that will be a perfect game for Super Perfect Team. 12 kills to 0. Level 20 to level 16 by the end of it, and every structure taken down. SPT make a statement that CE, if you want any chance of going to BlizzCon, you have to go through us, and right now, you gotta step it up.
We'll have that rematch sooner or later. If CE wins against their previous contenders, could be RPG, could be one of the bottom tier Gs beating RPG. They're going to have to win that game first, and then they're going to have to go for that revenge match, for that grudge match. And I think it's safe to say, Tetra, that CE is in the deepest crisis they've ever had since they were created as a team. Is it just the absence of wind? Debatable. I think there's many more factors coming into this. They have had their ups and downs, quite some ups as well, to be honest. But as of late, against the other top tier teams, they were nooking nearly with a chance.